Good morning, everyone. So to those who have decided to join this webinar, I am hoping that it will be insightful. I can see some familiar faces there and also some unfamiliar faces as well. So welcome to those that have decided to invest in working out how they can improve their business. So congratulations, and I'm hoping that, I'm just going to move this screen. I'm hoping that this time is a wise investment. So we can get more money back and make more money, but we can't get the time back. So I really hope this is a wise investment of your time, and that you walk away with some learnings that you didn't have before, or maybe some things that I might bring to your attention that you've thought about before but you haven't acted upon. Sorry about the noise outside. There is a motorbike going, and also lawn being mowed. So why it happens now, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go through some slides with you, and then I'm going to unshare it and talk about some of them as well at the same time. So without further ado, I will share my screen, or start my slideshow, sorry, and share my screen. I'm going to start, hold on here. I'm having fun. What's happened here? Just 1 second. Oh, you can hear that motorbike going. So I'm going to share this screen. Pardon me, 1 second. Definitely not my strong suit is IT. Here we go. So share my screen now. Right. So hopefully everybody can see my screen, and I'd like to be having people participate as much as possible today. So if you can use the chat box to participate, that would be amazing. So there's a couple of choices here. You've got the chat box, and you've also got the question and answers. I think it'd be great to use the chat box. And if I can just get a thumbs up or a yep from those that can actually see my screen now. We should have a Building Your Brand screen up there. So hopefully if we can just have a bit of a, yep, we've got some smiley faces there, great. So I've actually done something right, so that's good. So I will move through, and hopefully I will continue to get it right. So let's go. So here we are. We're looking at saying, all right, what is your brand? We're wanting to have a look and say, all right, what is your brand, and how we can actually step that up and get very clear of what that actually is. So one of the first things that we need to look at is, who is your target audience? Who is that? Do you know who your target audience is? It's really imperative to know who's that target audience that you're actually wanting to reach out to. So often, you'll say to somebody, have you got a clear picture of that target audience? Do you know who that is? And it's far, far easier to create a brand if you know who that target audience is. The sort of questions I might be wanting to say is, who are you actually trying to reach with your brand? Who are you wanting to notice you? Do you know who that is? Who would benefit from your services or your product? What do you know about your target audience? Do you know, things about them, what their challenges are, what their problems are? What types of technology do they use? Do you know what kind of media that they use? What kind of message resonates with them? So I want you to really get in mind who it is, this picture of this target audience you've got. And another thing that often I'll ask people is, do you have more than one target audience? There might be more than one. There might be 3 or 4 or 5. I think, when I look at my business, I've probably got 4 different target audience. So often I'll speak to people, and I'll stop sharing from time to time. often I talk to people and I say, okay, who is your target audience? We need to be really specific about this. And they will say things like, okay, well, anybody. B2B, anybody is my target audience. But that's not specific enough. We need to get very, very specific of who is that target audience then. All right, so how old are they? What do they watch on TV? What sort of education do they have? Where do they live? We need to be very, very specific on who that target audience is. And if we have multiple target audiences, we need to know what the difference is of these different target audiences. Are they older or are they younger? If we look at, say, as an example, say we look at Dome Cafe as an example, is their target audience the same target audience as McDonald's? Maybe not. Is that the target audience of the Ritz the same target audience as the McDonald's? No. So why do we know they're a different target audience? Because they give a totally different message when they're out there. So when we're looking at this, we need to be as specific as possible so that everybody in your team knows who that target audience is, where they are, what they like, what they don't like. So is everybody clear on who their target audience is, and are they I'm sharing my screen again, are they very specific on that target audience? Now, one of the first parts of this is to get very clear on what is your company mission statement. So of the people that are on this webinar, I'd love people to share, do they have a mission statement? And is that mission statement very clear? So I'd like people to share, if they have a mission statement, how clear is it? If you know it off the top of your head, you can just type in your mission statement. But if you do have a mission statement, I would love you to give me a yep, I have a mission statement. Because what the mission statement does, what it does, it's a statement that should sum up what your brand is in 1 or 2 sentences, very succinct and very clear. And a mission statement is different to a tagline. It's basically about what you're actually in business to do and who you're dealing with. So I've got an example I wrote down here, just do it. If we look at Nike as an example, their tagline is just do it, but their mission statement is to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. So we're very clear that's what their mission is, to bring inspiration, and we're looking at the inspiration is to athletes and it's globally. So that their mission statement is very short, clear, and to the point. So who has a mission statement in their business? I would like people to just put a comment in there. Yes, we have a mission statement. Yep, we've got a yes here. Fantastic. We've got another smiley face from somebody else. So if other people don't have a mission statement, yep, we've got another yes. It's time to think about it. So a mission statement is something that's you would share with everybody in your team. And you would also, and I'll put here, it's also something that you would have maybe on your website. It would have something that you would share with somebody in an induction. It might be something you'd put in a proposal. It's got to be very, very clear. And it needs to be something that actually aligns with the vision of the company. So if your company has a vision of wanting to be known as the world expert in this area or whatever it is, the mission statement needs to be in line with that. And the people that you join into your company, that you employ, they need to be in line with that vision and mission too. Because there's no point in having people in your team that are not actually in line with the vision and the mission of what your company is all about. you know, I heard someone recently, they said that they were a vegan and they were working in a small goods meat factory, and that wasn't aligned with them. So there was a disconnect. So we're wanting to find out, are the people that we're joining into our team, are they aligned with us and the mission of our company? And that's the first step to making sure that our branding is seamless and succinct, because it means the people we've got in the team, the mission that we're actually, the people we're going out to help, and that clear vision of where we're going to with that mission is all totally aligned. So I hope that makes sense, but it's great to see lots of people are actually working on their mission, because it's important that we know what that vision is, and it's important that we're on the mission of what are we out there to achieve, who's our target market, and what are we actually delivering to that target market. So another point as well is to look at saying, you know, when was the last time? Now I think, and this will come evident shortly, because I don't like this slide, the way it says keep your enemies closer. As far as I'm concerned, the attitude of abundance is far greater attitude to have in business than one of scarcity. So saying that your competitors are enemies, I think is not really doesn't ring true to me, because I have a lot of clients where their so-called competitors, they collaborate with all the time because they want to help each other, because often they've got too much work or not enough work. Also, especially in my industry, specialising in business coaching or planning, more people need help in business. There is no business coach or business planning specialist that would be a competitor to me. I want more people to get help. So, but the whole point of this that I wanted to bring to your attention is be very mindful of what, and we'll call them your competitors, what your people in your industry are actually doing as well. Be very mindful of keeping up to date with, you know, how much are they charging? What are they sharing? What information are they sharing to your to the same clients? So I would urge you, and I'll stop sharing here because that slide doesn't really ring with me, but I would urge everybody to have a list of their competitors or the people in their same industry, the people who are vying for the same dollar as you're vying for, and be very up to date with what is the message that they're giving out. Who is their target market? How are they communicating with their target market? Is it the same target market as you, or is it a different target market? How often are they posting? You know, are they posting something often to the market? How much engagement are they getting? Learn from them. What are people engaging with that they post? So you might learn, oh gosh, the market really responds to this. Success leaves clues. So if you've got a competitor in your industry that has a similar target market to you, and they're quite active on social media and they've got a lot of interaction, they've got a lot of conversation, and you can really feel, okay, what does the market want? Learn from this. You should know who your top people are who are sitting in or vying for the same dollar as you or in the same market as you. So that way you're actually learning and seeing, okay, what's working with them? What are the people responding to? What are the people not responding to? Who is their target market? Is there a target market they're missing out on? Are they excluding a certain target market? And that might be an area for you to focus on. So my question is really here is, when was the last time you looked at the branding and looked at the media message that the people who are vying for the same dollar as you in your space are portraying, and knowing who these people are and keeping a track of them, watching them and keeping an eye on them, because, you know, success leaves clues, and you can learn a lot from your target market by having a look at what's going on. So if you're not looking at your competitors' conversations, your competitors' media message, you're not looking at your competitors' branding, it's worth looking at, definitely. It's very much worth looking at. So now that we've looked at understanding, what's going on with our competitors, what we also want to look at is saying, sometimes, people say, flattery is when people actually copy you, and that's a flattering thing. Some people don't like it, but other people see it as a flattering thing. Well, I'm not recommending that you copy what your competitors are doing, but if there is a pattern that you notice that's happened in their branding, that you can see, okay, they've got that part of the branding message really clear and really well, well, then it then magnifies that you might not be doing that well. So we really want to make sure that your branding is unique, and see when people are Googling your services or when they're searching your services in the maps, make sure that you're not a copycat of the competitor. Make sure that you are unique. Your goal is to be unique. Create your unique brand. Create what makes you you and what makes you special. And the thing is, we don't need to reinvent the wheel with different platforms to use, but you need to stand out as being a unique person. Your brand needs to be unique. So we need to be mindful of not copying our competitors, but being mindful of what are they doing that works well. So that I see people say, oh, they're just going to copy somebody else that's doing well. We don't want that. But we want to understand, well, what is working for them and what's not working for them, what's working for me and what's not working, but be very clear on what it is that makes you unique. So we need to know what's that unique position that you have that nobody else can say. It needs to be something that is part of the reason why people come to you, and what makes you different and special. What's something unique that you bring to the table that others don't, and that there's no way in the world that others could actually say to that. And so that when people are actually communicating with you, you know what it is that you're bringing to the table. You know what's unique about you. So thinking about your business and your brand, I'd like people to comment and say, do you know what's different about you? If I was to say, if I was on the phone to you now and said, hey, what is unique about you? So when you're going through the steps to build your brand, it is easy to get overwhelmed with competitors. But think of yourself and think about, okay, why do the people that work with me, why do they deal with me, and why am I so different? So what is unique? So if I said to you, what's your uniqueness that makes you different from your competitors, what would you say? So do you know what that actually is? So looking at saying, what do you bring to the table that your competitors can't bring to the table? So if we could have a few people that would just I would love some comments on people who do have unique selling points. Do we know what's unique? And what value do they bring to the table? I know there's a few people in the group that I know they know what their, yep, we've got someone here that says, yep, what their uniqueness is, which is great. Another person has mentioned that they're working on it, which is good. So what makes you unique? And it should be something that should just roll off your tongue. So I'm hoping a few more people will put some comments in here. If you said to me, why am I unique? If someone said, why would I deal with you? Why are you unique, Suzanne? Well, I've been in business for over 30 years. That's different. A lot of business coaches haven't. A global award winner at business planning. That's something that a lot of people haven't got. Recently published my book on planning. So that's different. Represented Australia through triathlon. So I know what tenacity and determination and planning is. So, it's easy to differentiate myself from others. So we want to know off your tongue, 35 years experience. Yes, love it. Absolutely love it. 35 years experience in graphic design. Like, that's incredible. How many people have got 35 years experience in graphic design? Half of the business people I talk to haven't even made it to 30 yet, let alone 5 years in business. And, you know, only 80% of people, you know, are normally out of business within their first 5 years or so. So I'd love some other people to put in what's unique about them. And I'm pushing you because I want you to actually share why you're unique. What's unique about your business? Because you need to know what it is. You need to know what's your unique selling point. Okay, let me hopefully have one more person put a comment in why they're unique. If I was to speak to them on the phone and ring them up, and if this is a point that you don't know why you're unique, you need to find out why, because someone's going to ask you. It needs to be that you know what it is. So when we're looking at that, I will move on to my next point, which is, do you have a style guide? What is your style guide? Now, you might be thinking, I don't know what a style guide is. Well, I'm sure Linda will know what a style guide is, but I'm wanting to know, what is a style guide? So we're looking at saying, when you're putting together your website, when you're putting together a flyer, a poster, a post, you need to be very mindful of what is your style. What is your style that resonates your company? So I mentioned the Ritz Hotel and I mentioned McDonald's. They've got a totally different style guide. So their style guide includes, it's a document that you would normally give to your web designer or your printer or your marketing person, that has your clarification of your size of your font, clarification of your colors, your types of icons, your logo, color definition, everything that resonates with your actual your style or your vibe. And it should be something that you have on file, so that all emails, all branding material uses this style guide. Now, I will share my little fun thing that I did today with everybody, which I will stop sharing for a second. So those of you here that know me, that are on the webinar today, I would love your comments. Do you feel that the slides that I've used so far, because there's quite a few people on here that have known me for quite a long time, do you feel it resonates me and who I am? So I want an answer of yes or no of the slides that I've used today. Do they resonate? So when we talk about a style guide, we're talking about font, we're talking about color, we're talking about photographs, we're talking about the style of it, the feel of it. Do you feel that the slides that I've used today resonate with who I am and what you know of me? So I would like yes or a no from those that know me, please. I'm seeing some people there that have known me for quite a while, so hopefully you can give me a comment here of a yes or a no. Hopefully people are typing, and it's not a trick question. So I'm wanting you to just give me a yes or a no in the chat box, not the questions and answers, in the chat box, of whether or not the style that I've got here resonates with my the essence of who I am. Okay, yep, I've had someone says seems a bit American, blue is good. Okay, so we've not got a definite yes or no. I'm hoping other people will comment. I don't have anyone else courageous enough to, but the point of the matter is I can get slides of a presentation through my organization, and then what I do is I change them to match my brand to match my essence, to match what is aligned with me. Now, I decided deliberately today not to touch these because I wanted to see if people noticed that they weren't actually aligned with me. Like mentioning the competitors or the people in your own space as enemies. Now, I would never say that. I have very much of an abundance attitude. So my branding and the essence of who I am and the message I want to get out is not in line with these. And I deliberately left it that way because I wanted people to notice and see there is a disconnect. And if there is a disconnect, like the font looks old. It looks very old. I would have changed all the fonts. The pictures look old. They look dull. I would have changed the pictures. I would have them much more fun. I very much like fun. So there is a noticeable disconnect with who I am and my branding and essence as the pictures I've got here. So I wanted people to notice that. I'll go back to that picture there. I wanted people to notice that so that they can see how different it actually is when there is a disconnect. So the next part of your branding is making sure that you've got a great logo. So if you're looking at getting a new website, you've got to do the logo first. If you're starting a business and you're doing an email signature and you're setting up a website, you're doing some letterhead and business cards and all that, the logo needs to be first. Your brand, your identity needs to be identified first so that your logo can represent what your business is all about. So when we think about a brand, usually the first thing that comes to mind is a visual, which is why creating a logo is so important. You know, we all don't have an eye for design, unlike some people. And you know, the thing is that we need to make sure that the brand, the logo brand that we've got, is one that actually is pleasing to the eye and is one that actually resonates with who we are and it's memorable. We've probably all been to quiz nights when they put logos out and we've got to pick who they are, and the real memorable ones are really easy to pick up. Your logo holds a lot of weight, so it really needs to resonate who you are, and you really need to get a creative person to really get that essence so that you start with a really strong logo from the start. You know, a little point on the logo, there was this optometry practice that were having trouble with resonating with their customers, and what happened was their logo, it was a graphic of a laser shooting into an eyeball. Now, they thought that was really good because they wanted to be straight to the point, but unfortunately it didn't come across that way to their customers, to their clients, to their audience. So once a branding specialist had a look at it, then they worked out that was not what that community really was resonating with. So they got a much better logo that fitted with their target market and really resonated with them. So make sure that it's not just about you, your logo, it's speaking to the people out there that are your target market, so that is resonating what you're actually all about. The other is really forming your voice as well. You need to know what is your voice, and your voice is about how you communicate your message to your potential customers and your current customers. And that's, you know, and that's something that that was when I was going through this, that was one of the reasons why I deliberately left the slides the way they were, because they're not in my voice. The text is not in my voice. Some of the words here are not the voices that I would use. So when you create your text, is your voice talking to the right target market? As an example, I had a client once that had a website. They were doing a particular service. Let's say, for example, they were a landscape gardener. Now, their target market was councils, but all their website was the actual voice. They were talking to mums and dads at home because the person who'd done their website wasn't clear that their target market was not homes. So it was the wrong voice for the wrong target market. So if you've got, say, one target market that might be 18-year-olds, you would talk to them in a totally different voice as if you're talking to, say, 65-year-olds. So you would need to have your brand voice, but then modify it depending on who that target market is. But that the actual brand voice needs to be, it needs to be fluid through all of the communication that you have out there, so that you're actually getting a character of your brand's voice out there, so that it sounds like you. So if people read it, they would think, oh yeah, that's coming from that person. It's not been written by somebody else. And, you know, one of the challenges that some people get, you know, with this is the different target markets, speaking to them differently, because as I said, you would speak to a 65-year-old in a podcast, in a blog, in a Facebook ad, whatever it is, you would speak to them differently. But you can still have the essence of your voice actually pulling through it. And sometimes you might find, you know, I'm not good at writing, or I'm not good at doing that sort of thing. How do you do that? Well, one of the ways that I do it is I don't have time to write blogs and things like that, but I'll just dictate something, and then I get one of my beautiful people that help me to write the article. So it's still in my voice, but they've written it, because that way they're keeping that essence of the voice, but they're getting the word out there. So what is your voice, and what is your brand when you're out communicating? Do you just get a stranger to write it, and so it's totally it doesn't resonate you at all? So it's saying, how does your voice resonate in the things that you put out there, or is it not? So the other is, and this is also same with your voice, is do you have your elevator pitch? Does your elevator pitch get to the point or not? An elevator pitch is that very quick statement. If you want to call it, some people call it a matchbox statement, some people call it an elevator pitch. It's short, it's sweet, and it describes who you are and what you do. And this is part of your brand development, so that when you meet people in 30 seconds or less, you can quickly say who you are, what you do, and who you deal with. So I suppose it could be a bit of an extension to your mission. But generally it would be a little bit, there'd be a bit more emotion involved in your elevator pitch, because you might have, just met someone that you hadn't seen for 10 years and you bumped into them and they're like, hey, what are you doing? Well, yeah, God, I haven't seen you for a long time. I'm happy to share, my job at the moment is amazing, because, I help change people's life by helping them create a plan and actually implementing it of where they are in their business to where they want to get to, so they can spend more time and have more finances to play with their family and friends with. So get that very clear of what is your elevator pitch. And if you don't have an elevator pitch, again, that's part of your branding and something that you should actually work on, so that when you bump into someone, you can just quickly, succinctly have a very clear statement that doesn't sound like it's a recorded one, but it's from the heart, with what you do, who you are, what you offer, and the people that you actually deal with. Having emotion is also really, really important. We need in some way for your branding to connect with people's hearts, because the thing is, when we're looking at marketing, we're looking at saying, well, what's the problem we're solving? How can we make this business or this person or this interaction walk away from this relationship feeling better? So the best brands build their consumer base by tapping into their emotions. We don't have to look any further than the health or fitness industry or the beauty industry. They're always looking at, making people feel good by this shampoo, or making them feel good by having this, this health product or this beauty product. They tap into the emotions of the people, and when we look at saying, what's our branding that we're putting out there. I'll stop this for a second. What's the branding that we're putting out there? What's the emotion that we are actually resonating when we put our branding out there? Are we putting an emotion out that we're going to make people's lives, you know, a lot more happier? Are we going to make them feel more beautiful? Are we going to make them have more energy? What's the emotion that we're actually resonating when we put our branding out there? Are we making them feel like they are empowered to go to understand their finances better? Or, you know, what is it? Do we have any emotion? And, you know, it's funny, when my husband and I sold our last business, one of the things we said, if we go into another business again, because we'd semi-retired, we both said we need to be involved in a business that deals with people's emotions. We want to make a difference in people's lives. So we need to make sure we're not just selling boxes off a shelf, that we're actually getting involved with connecting with people's lives in such a way that there's an emotional connection, that we can take them through a journey that makes their lives better from having that emotional experience. Now, whatever it is that you do in your business, what's the emotion that people feel after they've had that transaction? It might be a new car, it might be a new website, whatever it might be. Are we very clear on what that emotion is, and does that resonate in your branding? Is that emotion coming out of it? Am I feeling that if I contact you, I'm going to be, you know, excited because I've now got a new, you know, website, or because I've now got, you know, a new, you know, kind of, you know, fitness regime that I'm doing, whatever it is. So is there emotion in your branding or not? That's my question. So the next point that we want to look at as well, when we're looking at this, is there a personality to your branding? Do you have some personality there? You know, I want to have a look at this and say, okay, this is all your branding material. You've put it in front of me. This is your logo. This is your website. This is your Facebook page. This is your Instagram. Yeah, there's a lot of personality there. I can see you guys go out on, you know, and have fun in the company. I can see these are some clients that you work with. Looks like you've had fun on that project. What's the personality that you are resonating in your branding? Is there a personality that you're resonating in your branding? The thing is, customers are not looking for another cookie cutter company that offers the same as everyone else. What they're looking for is a personalised experience that's tailored to meet their needs, because that's all that's going on in their head is their need. They just want their needs met. That's all they want. So they can't be in anyone else's head. So they're only thinking of themselves. So the way that they can see this often these days is by looking at social media, looking at Instagram, you know, looking at Facebook, looking at your, you know, your blogs or whatever, and seeing the real life moments, the real personalities of the people that are in your organisation that they're going to be dealing with. And so this is what people do. They're going to look and go, hey, do I want to deal with that person? Do they look fun? Or do they look like it might be they're looking for someone really serious. It might be that they're a very highly compliant person and they want someone really serious and very specialised in a particular field. The other thing as well is asking your clients to also encourage them to share the stories and the personalities and the projects and the things, how you've affected them emotionally. Get them to share that in their social media as well. Encourage that, so that if somebody's looking for your services that you deliver, then they this day and age, the first thing they do is they do a quick scan of the internet. They look at your website, look at your Facebook, look at your Instagram, look at your LinkedIn, and they can have a look. Oh, these are all the comments on the Google Map. These are your client stories. This person sounds really fun. This is their personality. let's look at some pictures on Instagram. Oh my gosh, they look, that emotion that I wanted from you, from your business, I can see that coming through here. That's telling me a story. Yeah, I want to call you. But if your business has nothing on social media, if it has nothing, there's no personality, it's just one blank website, do you think people are going to be inspired to connect with the personality that they can't actually see? So I hope that makes sense. So share some personality, have that personality thread going through so that people can see that there are real people there are real stories, real success stories, real improvement stories that then they can resonate with, connect with, and go, hey, yeah, I'd like to deal with these people. This company looks amazing. They look like great fun to work with. The other one is small touches make a difference. One of my missions or one of my goals is I would like to be a millionaire of hearts. I constantly hear of people say they want to be a millionaire of dollars, but I'm more inspired to be a millionaire of hearts. So the small touches is what makes a difference. So my goal is to help any business, small or large. I don't care if I work with, you know, multi-millionaires and I work with startups. My goal is to touch 1 million hearts. So I'm happy to help somebody with giving them a free book, giving them a free webinar, inviting them to come along to a workshop for nothing, because I know it'll make a difference to them. And I know it's not a big deal for me, but it can make a really big deal to them. So thinking about, you know, what are these small things? Don't overlook the small things. What small things can you do that resonate with who you are, your personality, your brand, that are really going to touch the hearts of the people that would potentially like to work with you, but could just be a small add-on or a small touch that will really make them realize the personality of you and realize your brand and really value you. You know, another way of doing this is commenting on your clients with your voice, commenting on your clients' social media with, you know, how well they are to deal with or what your experience has been like. And then that way, it's just a small thing, but they'll notice it and they'll really appreciate it and think, gosh, we've worked with lots of people in this industry before, but no one's ever given back like that. You know, it's like that emotional bank account. These small touches are little drops in that emotional bank account that make a difference. They make a huge difference because, you know, people remember that. And that's, again, touching the emotion. Again, it's being your personality, it's being your brand and keeping true to that and saying, that's what I want to do, you know, with the essence of who I am as a business and as an organisation. So have you got some small touches that you could add on that will make a really big difference, that will keep your brand different from competitors, that are just something small that will make a really big difference to the people that interact with you that may be pre-sale or after sale. The other thing to remember, and I've seen this time and time again, is make sure that everything is fully integrated into your brand so that as far as your brand goes, it's all seamless. And that's why a style guide is recommended. Make sure everything is seamless. I often see people, I'll look at their website. So if someone wants to speak to me about their business, I'll look at their website. I'll go and look at their social media and I'll see a different font, I'll see a different color, I'll see a different voice, I'll see different people, and nothing actually synchronizes. So making sure that if your unique selling point is, you know, that you can, you know, say give people finance in a certain period of time, or if you can give a service that nobody else can give, and you speak in a certain kind of voice, make sure that's seamless across your different platforms. Because if it's not, people just get the wrong message and they're not getting, I mean, the thing is, it's on average, 7 to 9 touches before someone buys. So imagine if if your message is not integrated with all the different platforms, and often people see somebody or see say a post or a Facebook page or a link or a comment, and they see a few, 2 or 3 things before they actually contact the company. If they were all different, if they weren't seamless, the branding wasn't seamless, then they wouldn't, their subconscious mind wouldn't recognize them. So often people have seen someone come across their vision in some way or other 3 or 4 or 5 times, and then, as I said, studies have shown 6 to 9 touches before they buy. But if you didn't fully integrate your branding, they wouldn't have noticed that. They wouldn't connect that subconscious brain to think, oh, I recognize that company. They're pretty cool. I like what they do. So it's probably worth doing a branding audit. And there's lots of people out there that do branding audits. There's plenty of people I can recommend. If you don't, it's probably worth doing a branding audit to say, is mine all synchronized? Is it integrated across everything that I do? Is that branding? Is it consistent or not? And the other thing as well, which is interesting to think about, you know, sometimes people, if they're at the start of their business, it's okay to test things. It's okay to test things when it's a brand new business, to test, will this be better for my target market or this? And often people will use, they might use maybe some of their current clients to just do a test market of, does this resonate more me or does this resonate more me? So there's no point in trying one way, then jumping the fence and saying, oh, that didn't work, I'll go the other way. I'll try this other brand, or try this other logo, or try this other voice, or try this other style guide. It's better to say, okay, I've got a few people, maybe friends, maybe family, you might be starting a new business, and say, these are the 2 that I'm thinking of, what resonates with me more? And don't chop and change. Once you've got it, stick to it. And the other thing is, if you do, as time goes by, want to do slight changes, like as you can see, not long ago, Google did a slight change in their logo and their brand, keep the essence of it. So it's only ever so slightly. It's just a small tweak, a modern twist. But if you are a brand new business owner and you're wanting to set up your branding, you're wanting to set up your style guide, your logos, your all of that, definitely test the market with people you trust first before you go live, so that you're making sure. So with this slide deck, as I said, people that know me well would know this does not resonate with me. Like even this picture here that I've got here, like this picture, I would never in a million years pick this picture. It's not the kind of font that I would pick. So people who know me well would say, no, that doesn't match you, Suze. That doesn't match you. So the other thing, you know, when we're looking at branding to think about is, be your brand's biggest advocate. Resonate everything that you're about. Be true to you, to yourself and your brand. And I had a situation where, you know, this person had this image and this brand that was out there. And then I spoke to some people that worked in the company, and I spoke to some customers of that company, and oh my goodness, it was so opposite to what they really were. So is your brand and your message that you're putting out there, is that consistent with who you are? So my point is, be your biggest advocate. Be true to who your brand is. Be true to the message you're getting out there. Make sure it resonates who you really are, because the market can tell if it's fake. The market can tell if it's a lie. And as I said, with this company that was, you know, touting that they were, you know, all these things, and then I spoke to people that worked there and customers that went in, and they were not any of them. It was so opposite. So to me, that would actually give the reverse effect. That would be much worse, because people will be saying, hey, this person's putting this image up, or their branding is saying they're this, but they are not them, because I know who they really are. They're not them. Now, if you talk to anyone that's been involved with my business, they will know that what I purvey out there is exactly who I am. I don't pretend to be great at social media. I tell people I dictate things. You know, I tell people I have other people that help me all the time, because there's some things that I'm totally not good at, and I focus on the things that I'm really good at, which is passionate about, is the planning side and the helping the people side. So I'm a bit goofy. I'm a bit silly. I get my words mixed up. That's just who I am. So are you your biggest advocate? So when we look at your business, is the message that you're putting out there, when we look at your social media, when we look at everything, does it resonate who you really are? Are you your biggest advocate? Does it resonate? Does it resonate? Does it reflect who you really are or not? And is it consistent? Consistency is the key. You've really got to be consistent with that message, so that if you say to yourself, oh, I'm going to start to do this and this is my message, well, then don't just do it for a week and then stop it. And then say, okay, well, that didn't work, so I'm going to stop that. No, you've got to be consistent, because if people want to trust you, they need to see that you can deliver consistent service, consistent message, and that if this is your brand, that needs to be consistent all the time in your business. Because if your brand is not consistent, then what's going to happen is that gives them a subconscious message that whatever service they're wanting to get off you is not going to be consistent. So whatever you're doing, make it be consistent in all of the ways, in the branding, in the message, in the voice, in the regularity of whatever it is you're doing out there, as far as the visibility. Because the thing is, you know, when we look at people in business, they've got to see you first before they can do business with you. They've got to know you exist. And then that's how they resonate, whether it's consistent, whether it matches them, whether it meets their emotional needs. Then they've got to trust you. So if someone's not consistent, if it's haphazard, if it doesn't resonate with them, they're not going to trust you to get to the next step to do business with you. Have a look, see if it's consistent. If you have a branding audit, they'll be able to tell you whether it's consistent. They'll say to you, this is one message you're giving here, this is another message you're giving here, it's not consistent. They will be able to tell you that this is the vibe of here, this is the voice of here, and this is not of here. I love this picture. This picture says, you've made it, as you can see, and this is so not the kind of picture that I would resonate with me, and I just wanted to keep it because it was fun and looks very false. So that's what I wanted to make sure it was there, because give you an example of something that doesn't connect with me. And have you got pictures on your website? Have you got pictures on your social media that you look at and you go, that's not really me. I don't really connect with that. And I wanted to make sure that you could see that message coming out loud and clear, and how it feels when there is that disconnect. So thank you very, very much for taking the time to come and spend this time with me in this forum of learning, and I really hope people have taken some learnings away. I'd love people to share and also to stay in touch. If there's anything that they feel I can help them with, I'd love people to also give me some takeaways from today in the chat. If there's one thing, now I can guarantee everyone on this webinar hasn't got all of this nailed. Oh good, I've made someone smile. That high five image is classic. I loved it. I had to keep it. It was so fake and false. So what is something that you're going to take away from today that will make you act and be that little bit better in your branding? So I'd love to have comments in the chat of an action that you're going to do that is going to get you one step closer to having a better brand. We've got someone who's going to have an elevator pitch. Perfect. From the heart, clear, succinct description of what your business is all about and who you're wanting to deal with, and how you can impact what it is that you do. Other takeaways, something that you've not nailed yet that you would like to act on, say over the next, more emotion. Love that one. We've got to feel the emotion in your branding, because that's what people are contacting you for. There's a reason why people need to deal with your business, and that has an emotional backing or resonance, and they've got to connect with you. So I love that comment. Thank you very, very much for that. Being your biggest advocate, not feeling fully confident. So maybe that's a bit more work on yourself, on getting confident, because no doubt everyone has a uniqueness. And so maybe get clear on what that uniqueness is, and then you can be talking from the heart with confidence if you know what that uniqueness is. But being your biggest advocate, I think, is really important, because people are very, they can see through if people are not being true to their branding, if they've got this fancy image and they're not really them. Has anyone ever looked up someone's, Instagram or Facebook or something like that, and then when they meet them, they're like, oh my goodness, that picture was 20 years ago. That's not being your biggest advocate. That's not resonating the right brand. That's getting a bit of a falseness to yourself. So thanks for that takeaway. That's great. Any other takeaways or actions that people would like to share? I would love to see them. Now, I will also finish with one last slide, which is my slide, the only slide that's my slide. And I will share that last one, and thank you all. Last one from me for today is, if you would like any help or would like to have more, oh, sorry. So you can tell I'm not very good with technology. I'd love you to read my book. That is where I've shared my life story, parallel with the business learnings. I had lots of challenges, and people are finding me sharing my story inspirational. I'm also happy, you can book through my calendar a 15-minute chat with me, bit of a strategy session if you need help with your business. I can give you some ideas on where to go, and if I can help you, or I can point you in the direction of people who might be able to help you. So so that's me. If you would like some help, and yes, that I do feel that resonates me. I like lots of blue and I love the ocean. So that's it for today. Thank you very, very much for joining. Sorry about my skills with technology. They're not that wonderful, but I do want to help more people, so I hope people can bear with that. And I am happy to answer any questions. If people want to email me, that would be great. And have an amazing day. And I've got in just under an hour, so I'm pleased I haven't taken up any more of your time. And the one thing is, there's no point in watching a webinar if you don't act on it. So please put some time in your diary or your calendar to do the actions that you've identified through this webinar that you might need to improve on with your brand and with your business, because there's no point in doing learning without implementation. It's just a waste. So I really encourage you to put some time in to do that, because if you haven't put the time aside, it won't happen. You need to act on it in that time. So thank you very much. Have an amazing day, the rest of it. Thank you.